Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me. Day 3 of my live podcast. Hope all of you have been enjoying them, and there's been some topic that's come up that you've been able to talk about all day. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on my YouTube channel, make sure you make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're inching closer to 2,000 subscribers, and I appreciate it. There's this thing about dues, and watching the Olympics has really brought this up in my head. And then I saw a man who's pretty popular on Twitter, and apparently has a TikTok as well, talk about dues in a song. He said, I think he was talking about, shout out to Kurt Hines, who was talking about the most important 4 words in We Are the Champions. People think is We Are the Champions, but it's really I paid my dues. And you know, I was thinking about it, and I was actually thinking about talking about this yesterday, but when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's definitely something that I wanted to address. Dues are nothing more than, well, let me rewind. So rules are put in place. We have rules and we have structure. That is for control. That is what rules and structure are for. If you are someone who has no rules and you have no structure, you probably have no control. Dues, they operate pretty similarly. Telling someone to pay their dues is akin to telling them you have to follow this structure. You have to follow this layout before you can get to whatever it is your goal is. You can't skip. You can't jump. Well, here's the problem. Nobody actually doles out dues in an equitable manner. Talent always has the opportunity to usurp dues. And I go back to the Olympics. Afing Mo is 19 years old, and she is an Olympic gold medalist. Did she pay her dues? You look at some of these other women who run the 800 who are in their mid-20s, late 20s, not winning gold. Have they not paid their dues? Because dues really only come into play when talent is equal. When talent is equal, then we get dues. And if there's no equal talent, then there's no dues. It's really not that difficult to understand. If you have a talented quarterback and he's better than the quarterback in front of you, as long as he's not doing something detrimental, if he's just clearly more talented, he's not going to have to pay his dues in order to beat out that starting quarterback. And if he does, he's probably going to transfer, i.e. Justin Fields and Jake Fromm at Georgia. Justin Fields was the better quarterback. I saw it from the moment I watched him practice. I watched him in the spring. Justin Fields was the better overall quarterback. Did he know the system as well? No. But goodness gracious, when y'all give me, well, he doesn't know the system as well. Well, if he doesn't know the system as well, coach, it's your job to teach him the system. If he's the better talent and he's putting in work at the same level as the incumbent and he's the better talent, you start the better talent. But that's not how Kirby Smart gets down, because Kirby Smart is still, for all of the great recruiting and everything he does, he's still in that old school mentality of you pay your dues. But that's only on offense. On defense, he's not like that at all. His defense is full of talent. The most talented players play. on defense. But he's a defensive guy, so no wonder that happens. So Athing Mu's 19. Sydney McLaughlin's 21. Did she have to pay her dues? She went to the Olympics at 17. Think about that. She went to the Olympics. She was 16 turning 17. And when she went there, or excuse me, at the Olympic trials, people said, well, she may have to pay her dues. And she told them, no, I'm going to the Olympics right now. And at 16 going in on 17, she went to the Olympics. And people said, well, should be hard pressed to get out of the first round. And she's like, no, I'm going to go to the semifinal rounds. And she made it there. And then the talent caught up with her. And she didn't go any further. Fast forward 5 years later, not even 5 years later, excuse me, fast forward 3 years later to 2019 for the World Championships, she says, it's my time right now. She's out there murdering fields at the World Championships. And she gets to the final, and Dalilah Muhammad, the talent, says, not just yet, youngster. And Dalilah Muhammad smashes a world record, which, by the way, Sydney McLaughlin also beat. And so she had to wait. Was she paying her dues then, or did her talent just not allow her to ascend to the next level? Olympic trials 2021 in Eugene. Sydney McLaughlin's like, it's my time. Dalilah Muhammad's like, I'm still the queen. Sydney McLaughlin, world record. Dalilah Muhammad, close second. We get to the Olympics. Sydney McLaughlin, it's my time. Dalilah Muhammad, I'm not ready to give it up yet. Sydney McLaughlin wins, world record. Dalilah Muhammad breaks the world record in second. Where were the dues there? Did she really pay her dues? Or was this an inevitability that just came with her being talented? See, if there was no Dalilah Muhammad, Sydney McLaughlin comes a lot faster. Sydney McLaughlin elevates to the first level a lot faster. If A'ja Wilson in the 800 was still running at the level she was running at the World Championships, Athing Mu may not have ascended to Olympic champion right now, but A'ja Wilson's not running that way. And so because the talent in front of her didn't hold her off, Athing Mu at 19 years old is there. The hell with your dues. She doesn't have time for your dues. We have to start thinking this same way in our team sports. If the talent dictates that they are ready to play right now, you've got to get them on the court. You've got to get them on your field. You've got to get them on your pitch. You've got to get them on your diamond. Because in this world that we live in right now, if they're not, and a lot of times if they just aren't, if they're really not supposed to be, and they think they should, they're transferring. So imagine when you actually do have the talent, but you're trying to keep the talent humble. So, or you have other talents in front of them, and so you're trying to keep it equitable. What happens then? You have to find a way to get the talent on the field. If you have a talented quarterback, but you've got another talented quarterback in front of them, you got to give that quarterback a quarter. You got to give that quarterback a few plays. And not just when in garbage time. You got to give it to them in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. You got to make them feel like they are an integral part of your program, or they're leaving. It's very rare that these people are willing to sit around for 2-3 years and wait, because everything is right now for these young men and young women. If you have a young lady and she's a really good outside hitter, but you've got an All-American outside hitter, guess what? Don't tell that young lady, well, she's got to pay her dues. That's not really the truth. Tell her the truth. I have an All-American in front of you. Like, I think you're really talented. I think you're really good, but there's All-Americans right here in front of you. So I'm going to try to get you some reps, and you're the future. But understand, this All-American is in front of you right now. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't play this All-American. Be honest with them. Don't tell them, oh, you got to pay dues. Because what you're really telling them is, oh, well, you're not good enough. And if they know they are good enough, then you're lying to them. You're trying to control them. You're trying to keep them from their blessing. These are all things that they'll look at and say. You have to be smart in the way you handle these things. We can't just default to pay your dues anymore. That's not the world we live in. You got to be able to tell these young men and women the truth about who they are and accept the consequences when they decide that they don't agree with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. We're doing this thing all week. Before I go, to all the teachers who are going back into the classroom today, hey, let's take another trip around the world again. We'll see y'all on the other side in May or June, whenever you are finished. I'm always proud to call myself a teacher and be respected in this field. We are some of the hardest working, biggest complainers, really, really caring, really, really loving people in the world. Salute to all of you teachers and to you football coaches out there. We'll see you on the field very, very soon. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on my YouTube channel, like, subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.